Today's episode is presented by Lodestar, the fee experts.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Lending Leaders. This week, I have a very exciting guest, Stephen Huang from MeridianLink Mortgage. And I actually don't remember your title. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'm a key account director. It's very exciting.
Perfect. And this week we're at TMC's The Main Event. I always love getting to record in person with people. It's so fun, and it's not something that we get to do all the time, to be quite honest. So thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
You know, it's great. And so really what I wanted to talk through with you today is I feel like you have such an interesting story of how you ended up where you are in the industry. And kind of, could you just share how you started on the lender side and now you're obviously with a tech vendor?
Yeah, certainly. Like most mortgage folks, I kind of fell into it. My sister's been in the business for a long time, and I actually dropped out of college. I lost my scholarship, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to take out loans. I'm just going to go work. Fell into mortgage when I was 20 and just kind of found my way through there and ended up on the tech side, ended up running a tech stack for a bank in Alayna and found out I really liked that. Went through an M&A, something that's fairly common today with the economy as it is, and decided I needed a change, wanted to do something a little bit more for myself where I get to kind of make my own schedule and kind of do my own thing. So here we are at MeridianLink Mortgage, where I implemented this particular software for the bank, and now we sell it.
Awesome. And I think that's such a unique journey because one of the things that I really am a huge advocate for is tech companies hiring people with lending experience, because I think it can provide such a unique perspective on the sales process, on the support process. What do you think is the biggest strength you've gotten from being, someone who implemented the technology to someone who sells it?
Realistically, I've been in the shoes, right? Like, I know at the core what it takes to do it because I lived it. And there's something to be said about living the day-to-day life of processing, underwriting, closing, LOA, whatever, secondary, and just truly understanding the fabric of what we do. Because then you're not assuming or pretending that it's you lived it. So you have that, really, really primal reaction when somebody's having that problem. You're like, yes, I lived that. Paper cuts with your thumbs, right? With the 2-prong folder, things like that, where it's a shared experience, right?
Yeah.
And so that absolutely matters.
Absolutely. And I think, I didn't come from the mortgage background. So it's one of the things that I feel like I always am trying to learn more. Yes. So like I'm seeking my AMP, I am trying to get that knowledge, right? So that's something I would encourage tech vendors, if you haven't sought out that knowledge through your clients, through the MBA has great programs for that, find that continuing education. I think it's so important. Yeah. And for lenders out there, I mean, we are in an M&A market. We are in a very tough position as an industry. I think we're still seeing layoffs, and we're getting, I think, maybe to the other side, but we don't like to make assumptions, right? Yeah. So I think, what advice would you give to lenders who maybe are on the job market right now and are maybe considering making that jump to technology? How would you recommend they do that?
Mortgage, the industry itself is a very small industry. Everybody kind of knows each other. So just like any good industry person, it's leveraging your network. And inevitably, somebody who knows somebody who has an end, who knows somebody who works there. You probably know somebody directly that works there. And that's what it takes to get in. Unfortunately, it's just, it's not a what you know, it's a who you know. It's just the name of the game, right? So, that's the reality. I think what you know will help validate who you know, and what you know is going to be critically important for you to execute at a high level at your job. But really getting in through the front door is just knock on doors and ask your friends, hey, who do you know at so-and-so? Can you give me an introduction? And I think that's really how I got my job. I knew somebody who helped get me in because I actually came in with no sales experience. Yeah. So, I'm only here because I'm a former client and somebody vouched for me.
Yeah. And I think that's so important is, like, if you're in that position, look at who your tech vendors were, right?
Absolutely.
Look at who you're working with on a regular basis and say, like, hey, do you have any open roles, or do you know anyone that's looking? Is like, here's my experience, here's my knowledge, here's how I want to work. And sometimes that could be in a customer support capacity, a product capacity, right? There's a slew of jobs on the tech side, I think, that can really benefit from having that firsthand lender knowledge as part of their team.
Yes, and I'd love to add to that, because what tech companies love is when their customers now work for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because ideally, you had such a good experience that now you work for us, right? And then you can tell the personal experience, which ties into that day to day, what ties in really nicely with what you're doing. And so it does matter. So I don't want to discount it, but getting through that first door, that first phase, it really helps to ask your current vendors. That's a great place to start. Hey, we used your tech stack for this long. I would love to see what you guys have available.
Yeah. And I mean, we actually, our newest sales manager, Ann DeMeo, and some of you may have had the chance to meet her on the road. We'll be at the Great Rivers Show. Stephen will be at the Great Rivers Show in a few weeks in Memphis, Tennessee, for that MBA group. But she actually came to us from a lender. She came from us from a client. And one of the things that I thought was so interesting is we didn't realize the seller obligated box being checked was so important. Like, we did it. We said, like, this is cool, but like, we didn't highlight it in demos. We didn't talk about it on a regular basis. And as soon as she started on our team, she's like, no, you need to be shouting about that.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's so important. Is we built these products, but we're not the end users. We don't realize what are the true selling features that can actually make a difference.
That's such a great point too, because we on the tech side, we tend to live in this black box perfect world where it does exactly as you expect, but we know mortgage is dirty, right? Like, the data's dirty, everything's just dirty. So it never flows through this nice, perfect, clean experience. So having that end user experience of saying, this is what's important to us, this is how you guys helped us do our job. I mean, that's just completely invaluable.
Absolutely. And I think we have a good amount of time left here. So, as you've gone through your journey, I believe you've been with MeridianLink for a while.
Yes, I'm part of the old guard, 4 whole years.
4 whole years. And so what would you say your favorite part of being on the tech side versus the lending side is?
What's really, really nice is my hair is not on fire every single day of every single hour. When you're a processor or a closer, like, you have these finite deadlines that you have to meet because everybody's waiting on you to deliver. When you're selling technology, you're providing technology, you have a little bit when people are having like urgent problems, but your day-to-day is not filled with your hair's on fire, right? You have some time to solve it and fix and make things right. So that's probably what I enjoy the most.
Yeah, I would definitely say there are fire drills, but not constant fires.
Correct.
Which is definitely, I think, a relief for all of us. And as we kind of charge towards our end here, my favorite question, and I want to give you time to answer it, because I know you're going to have a good answer for me, is, so a lodestar is a guiding light in the night sky. It's what we named our company after. And I always love to know what guides you, either personally or professionally, in your life.
First of all, love the association to lodestar, because that is we all need that shining beacon in our life. So I think that's a wonderful position you got put yourselves in. But really, what I do is, my personal and professional life, there's not much separation, right? Especially in sales, you just have to be who you are. So for me, it's basically 3 core tenets. It's you do what's right by you do what's right by your customer. At the end of the day, that's all you've got, right? You just have to do the right thing. 2, it's relationship building, right? It's that kind of ties into doing what's right. It's, you want to be there and actually be a valued partner. It's not transactional. Mortgage is a small business. You and I both know that. You see the same people that kind of just move throughout the industry. And so, again, you have your name, and that's all you have to live by. If I end up leaving MeridianLink for whatever reason, hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm just saying that's a possibility. But if you happen to leave, people are going to remember who you are, not necessarily who you're with. So I think it's important to stay true to yourself as well. And I think that's probably the hardest thing for most people to do, is learn who you are and be who you are. You don't have to hide that. And I think that's very important. So those are my 3 things.
I love that. I mean, I think authenticity is something that is desired in our world nowadays. I think it's the reason It's the reason I'm so vocal on LinkedIn and on other platforms, is I've really seen this authentic version of myself be the most valuable thing I can be. So that I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody's ever struggling with that, I encourage you to know what makes you happy, look inside, and just really lean into that, because you have one shot at this, right? No reason to be anything that you're.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, if people are trying to find you out in the world, where can they find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. I have a cat Instagram account if you're into that. If you like cats and dogs, we got you covered.
Ooh, what's that handle?
You know what? I don't even know.
Okay, I'll put it in the link in the bio.
It'll be in
somewhere.
the LinkedIn somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can find me on LinkedIn. You can call me on my cell phone. You can find me on via email at stephen.huang@meridianlink.com. You can also DM me. You can slide into those DMs at any time.
Those DMs. Well, thank you so much. And I know you'll be at Great Rivers with us. So if you happen to be in Memphis, we'd love to see you. Thank you again to the Mortgage Collaborative for bringing us together here in Louisville, Kentucky. So if you haven't had a chance to check out one of their events, definitely do. I'll be in Denver. Yep. I'm assuming you guys will also be in Denver.
Yep.
So we look forward to seeing you soon. And I hope everyone has a lovely week, and we'll see you next week with next week's episode.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.